Welcome to the video. Before we begin, I suggest you subscribe to the channel, and we begin. As a child, Emily was quiet and introverted. She always preferred reading books over playing outside with the other kids. Her parents were supportive of her interests, but they were also busy with their own lives. Emily spent most of her time alone in her room, lost in her imagination. As she grew older, Emily started to become more confident in herself. She met her future husband, Adam, in college, and they fell in love quickly. Adam was outgoing and adventurous, and he brought out a side of Emily that she didn't know existed. They got married a year after graduation and moved into a small apartment together. Emily was happy with her life, but she always felt like something was missing. She didn't have a close relationship with her mother-in-law, Marie. Marie was kind enough, but she was also very traditional and reserved. Emily didn't know how to connect with her. One day, Emily was taking a shower when she heard a noise coming from the kitchen. She turned off the water and listened. She could hear Adam and Marie talking, but they sounded tense. Emily was curious, so she tiptoed out of the bathroom and crept towards the kitchen. As she got closer, she could hear their conversation more clearly. They were talking about Emily's job and how it wasn't enough to support their family. Emily's heart sank. She had always been self-conscious about her career, but she didn't realize that Adam and Marie felt the same way. Emily was about to reveal herself and join the conversation when she heard something that made her freeze. Marie was suggesting that Adam cheat on Emily with a wealthy colleague. Emily felt like she had been punched in the stomach. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. Emily took a deep breath and composed herself. She knew she had to confront Adam and Marie about what she had heard. She walked into the kitchen, trying to keep her composure. Adam and Marie turned to face her, looking guilty. Emily took a deep breath and said, "I heard what you were saying. I can't believe you would even suggest something like that." Adam and Marie were both silent for a moment. Then Marie spoke up. "Emily, we're sorry. We were just worried about your financial situation." Emily felt a surge of anger. "You were worried about my financial situation, so you suggested that my husband cheat on me? That's not a solution. That's betrayal." Adam stepped forward and took Emily's hand. "I'm sorry, Emily. I never would have considered doing something like that. I love you." Emily looked at Adam and felt a wave of relief wash over her. She knew that he was telling the truth. She turned to Marie and said, "I need some time to think about all of this. I need to figure out if I can forgive you for what you said." Marie nodded, looking ashamed. "I understand. I'm sorry, Emily." Emily walked out of the kitchen, feeling shaken and betrayed. She didn't know if she could ever trust Marie again. She had always thought that Marie was on her side, but now she wasn't so sure. Days turned into weeks, and Emily didn't talk to Marie much. She and Adam went about their lives, trying to put the incident behind them. Then, one day, Emily got a phone call. It was Marie, and she sounded panicked. "Emily, I need your help. Something's happened to Adam." Emily's heart raced. "What happened? Is he okay?" Marie hesitated. "He's in the hospital. He had a heart attack." Emily felt like the world had stopped spinning. She rushed to the hospital, feeling terrified. When she arrived, she found Adam hooked up to machines and tubes, his face pale and lifeless. The doctors were doing everything they could, but his condition was critical. Emily felt tears streaming down her face as she held Adam's hand. She looked over at Marie, who was also crying. Despite everything that had happened, Emily knew that Marie loved Adam as much as she did. Days passed and Adam's condition slowly improved. Emily stayed by his side, watching him fight for his life. She prayed for him to recover, and eventually he did. When he woke up, Emily was there, holding his hand. Adam looked at her with tears in his eyes. "I'm so sorry, Emily. I never meant to hurt you." Emily shook her head. "It's okay, Adam. I forgive you. We'll get through this together." Mary stepped forward, looking ashamed. "I'm sorry, Emily. I know I said some terrible things, but I love you and Adam. I just want you both to be happy." Emily looked at Marie and felt her heart soften. She knew that Marie was sincere. She reached out and hugged her mother-in-law, feeling grateful for her love and support. In the end, Adam made a full recovery, and Emily and Marie were able to put the past behind them. They became closer, and Emily realized that she had misjudged Marie. She saw how much Marie cared for her family, and she was grateful to have her in her life. As Emily walked out of the hospital with Adam, she felt like a weight had been lifted from her shoulders. She had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but it had led to a deeper understanding of herself and her family. She knew that they had been through a difficult time, but they had come out stronger on the other side. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Adam tried to resume their normal routine. They talked about the future and what they wanted for their family. Emily felt relieved that they were able to put the incident behind them and move on. One day, while Adam was at work, Emily received a phone call from Marie. She sounded urgent and asked Emily to come to her house right away. Emily was surprised but knew something was wrong, so she quickly headed over. When she arrived, Marie looked pale and worried. "Emily, I need to tell you something," she said, leading her to the kitchen. Emily felt her stomach drop as she saw Adam sitting at the table with a grave expression on his face. "What's going on?" she asked, her heart racing. Adam took a deep breath. "Emily, I know that I hurt you before, and I want to make it right." Emily felt confused. "What are you talking about?" Adam pulled out a small box from his pocket and got down on one knee. "Emily, will you marry me again? Will you start fresh with me and give me another chance to be the husband you deserve?" Emily was stunned. She had never expected this. She looked at Adam's earnest face and felt her heart swell. "Yes, Adam," she said, tears streaming down her face. "I will marry you again." Marie clapped her hands in delight, and Emily realized that this was the unexpected ending she had been hoping for. She had thought that she would never be able to trust Adam again, but he had proven her wrong. He had shown her that he was willing to work hard to make their marriage work, and she felt a new sense of hope and love for him. In the end, Emily and Adam renewed their vows in a small ceremony, with only their closest friends and family. They exchanged rings, promises, and heartfelt vows that made everyone tear up. As they kissed, Emily knew that she had made the right decision. She had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but it had led her to this moment of joy and love. From that day on, Emily and Adam worked hard to keep their relationship strong. They learned to communicate better, to listen to each other, and to appreciate the little things in life. Emily felt grateful for the unexpected ending to their story, and she knew that it was only the beginning of their happily ever after. As time went on, Emily and Adam's relationship continued to thrive. They went on trips together, made new memories, and supported each other through the ups and downs of life. Emily knew that they would always have challenges, but she felt confident that they could handle anything together. One day, as Emily was sitting in the kitchen, enjoying a cup of coffee, she heard a knock at the door. She got up to answer it and was surprised to see Marie standing there with a big smile on her face. "Hi, Emily," Marie said, embracing her tightly. "I just wanted to stop by and say hello." Emily smiled back, feeling grateful for Marie's continued support. "Come on in," she said, leading her to the living room. As they sat down on the couch, Marie looked at Emily with a serious expression. "Emily, I know that I made mistakes in the past, but I want you to know that I love you like a daughter, and I want to make it up to you." Emily felt touched by Marie's words. "You don't have to make it up to me, Marie. You've been amazing to me and my family." Marie shook her head. "No, I want to do something special for you. Something that will show you how much I care." Emily felt curious. "What do you have in mind?" Marie leaned forward, excitement shining in her eyes. "I want to take you on a trip, just the two of us. Somewhere beautiful and peaceful, where we can relax and enjoy each other's company." Emily felt surprised but intrigued. She had never traveled with Marie before, but the idea sounded wonderful. "That sounds amazing, Marie. Where would we go?" Marie grinned. "It's a surprise, but I promise you'll love it." Emily felt her heart fill with gratitude and excitement. She had never expected to hear something like this from Marie, and she knew that this trip would be a special way for them to bond and connect. As Marie got up to leave, she hugged Emily tightly. "I love you, Emily," she said, "and I'm so grateful to have you in my life." Emily hugged her back, feeling tears of joy and love welling up in her eyes. She knew that she had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but it had led her to this moment of connection and healing, and she was grateful for it all. A few weeks later, Emily and Marie embarked on their trip together. As promised, Marie had kept the destination a surprise, but Emily could tell that they were going somewhere exotic and beautiful. They landed in a tropical paradise with crystal clear waters, white sandy beaches, and lush greenery all around them. Emily couldn't believe how beautiful it was. She and Marie spent their days lounging on the beach, swimming in the ocean, and exploring the local shops and restaurants. They talked about everything under the sun, from their families to their hopes and dreams for the future. Emily felt closer to Marie than ever before, and she knew that this trip would be a cherished memory for the rest of her life. One night, as they were sitting on the balcony of their hotel room, looking out at the stars, Marie turned to Emily with a serious expression. "Emily, I have something to tell you," she said, her voice soft. Emily felt her heart skip a beat. "What is it?" Marie took a deep breath. "I know that I haven't always been the best mother-in-law to you, and I want to apologize for that." Emily felt surprised but grateful. She had never heard Marie apologize like this before, and she knew that it was a big step for her. "Marie, you don't have to apologize," Emily said. "You've always been wonderful to me." Marie shook her head. "No, Emily. I need to make this right. I want to show you how much I care about you, and how much I respect you as a person and a member of our family." Emily felt touched by Marie's words. She knew that this trip and this moment were about more than just a vacation. They were about healing, forgiveness, and love. As Marie got up to leave, she hugged Emily tightly. "I love you, Emily," she said, "and I'm so grateful for this trip. It's been a gift to me." Emily hugged her back, feeling tears of joy and love welling up in her eyes. She knew that she had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but it had led her to this moment of healing and connection with Marie, and she was grateful for it all. The rest of the trip was filled with moments of laughter, bonding, and deep conversations between Emily and Marie. They explored new places, tried new foods, and shared stories from their lives. Emily felt grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with Marie, and she knew that it was a turning point in their relationship. As they packed their bags to head home, Emily felt a sense of sadness wash over her. She didn't want the trip to end, and she didn't want to say goodbye to Marie. But she knew that their bond was stronger now, and that they would always have this experience to look back on. When they arrived home, Emily went to the kitchen to make a cup of tea. As she was waiting for the kettle to boil, she heard the voices of Adam and Marie coming from the living room. They were talking about the trip and how much fun they had together. Emily felt a pang of jealousy and confusion. She had never heard Adam and Marie talking like this before, and she didn't know how to react. But as she listened more closely, she realized that they weren't talking about anything romantic or inappropriate. They were simply reminiscing about the good times they had shared on the trip. Emily felt a sense of relief wash over her. She knew that she had jumped to conclusions and imagined things that weren't there. But she also knew that this experience had taught her a valuable lesson about trust, forgiveness, and love. As she left the kitchen and walked into the living room, Adam and Marie turned to greet her with smiles on their faces. "Hey, Emily," Adam said, giving her a kiss on the cheek. "How was your day?" Emily smiled back, feeling grateful for the love and support of her family. "It was wonderful," she said. "I'm so happy to be home." And as she sat down on the couch, surrounded by the people she loved, Emily knew that she had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but that it had led her to a deeper understanding of herself and her relationships, and she was grateful for it all. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Marie continued to spend more time together, going on walks, having lunch, and enjoying each other's company. Emily felt like she had gained a new family member, and she cherished every moment with Marie. One day, as Emily was helping Marie prepare dinner, Marie turned to her with a serious expression. "Emily, I have something to tell you," Marie said, "and I hope you can forgive me." Emily felt her heart sink a little. She couldn't imagine what Marie could have done to hurt her, but she nodded, willing to hear her out. "When we were on the trip," Marie began, "I overheard you talking to your friend on the phone. You said some things about me that were hurtful and untrue. And I want to apologize for eavesdropping, but also for not giving you the chance to tell me what was bothering you." Emily felt a mix of shock and guilt wash over her. She knew exactly what Marie was talking about. She had vented to her friend about some of the frustrations she had with Marie, and she had said things that were harsh and unfair. "I'm so sorry," Marie only said, tears welling up in her eyes. "I had no right to say those things about you, and I'm sorry I didn't come to you directly to talk about my feelings." Marie smiled, placing a hand on Emily's shoulder. "I forgive you, Emily, and I hope you can forgive me for not being the best mother-in-law to you in the past." Emily nodded, feeling grateful for Marie's forgiveness and understanding. She knew that this was another turning point in their relationship, one that would require patience, honesty, and vulnerability. Over the next few months, Emily and Marie continued to work on their relationship, communicating more openly and making an effort to understand each other's perspectives. Emily felt like she had gained a true friend and confidant in Marie, and she knew that their bond was stronger than ever before. And as she looked back on that moment in the kitchen, when she had overheard something she wasn't supposed to hear, she realized that it had been a catalyst for growth and healing in her relationship with Marie. It had forced her to confront her own biases and assumptions, and it had led to a deeper understanding of herself and those around her. Emily felt grateful for the unexpected ending to this theme, and she knew that it had taught her a valuable lesson about forgiveness, compassion, and love. As time went on, Emily's relationship with Adam and Marie continued to improve. They spent holidays together, went on family vacations, and celebrated each other's milestones. Emily had never felt closer to Adam and Marie, and she knew that she had come a long way since that moment in the kitchen when she had overheard their conversation. She had learned to trust and forgive, to be vulnerable and honest, and to cherish the people she loved. One day, as Emily was sitting in her living room, Adam walked in with a bouquet of flowers and a nervous look on his face. "Emily," he said, taking a deep breath, "I have something to ask you." Emily felt her heart skip a beat. She had a feeling she knew what was coming. "Will you marry me?" Adam asked, getting down on one knee and presenting her with the ring. Emily felt tears of joy streaming down her face. She had never been happier. "Yes, Adam," she said, nodding. "I will marry you." As Adam slipped the ring onto her finger and stood up to embrace her, Emily felt grateful for everything that had led up to this moment. She knew that their journey had been filled with ups and downs, but that they had come out stronger on the other side. And as she looked over at Marie, who was beaming with joy and excitement, Emily knew that she had gained more than a mother-in-law. She had gained a true friend and ally. As they all celebrated together, Emily felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over her. She knew that there would be challenges ahead, but she also knew that she had the love and support of her family. And as she looked back on that moment in the kitchen, when she had overheard something she wasn't supposed to hear, Emily realized that it had been a turning point in her life. It had led her down a path of growth, forgiveness, and love, and it had ultimately brought her to this moment of happiness and fulfillment. Emily knew that she had heard something she wasn't supposed to hear, but she also knew that it had led to an unexpected and beautiful ending to her story. Emily and Adam were married in a beautiful ceremony surrounded by family and friends. As they exchanged vows and rings, Emily couldn't help but think about how far she had come since that day in the kitchen when she had overheard something she wasn't supposed to hear. Marie stood beside her, smiling and holding her hand, and Emily felt grateful for the bond they had built. She knew that Marie was not just a mother-in-law, but a true friend and mentor. After the wedding, Emily and Adam went on their honeymoon, traveling to a tropical paradise where they spent their days swimming, exploring, and enjoying each other's company. As they lounged on the beach, Emily turned to Adam and said, "I can't believe how lucky we are." Adam smiled, pulling her closer. "I know," he said, "and I'm grateful for everything that's led us here." Emily knew that their journey had been filled with challenges and obstacles, but she also knew that it had brought them to this moment of happiness and contentment. And as she looked out at the crystal blue water, Emily felt a sense of peace and gratitude wash over her. She knew that life would continue to have its ups and downs, but she also knew that she had the love and support of her family and friends, and that she was stronger because of everything she had gone through. As Emily and Adam returned home from their honeymoon and began their new life together, she couldn't help but think back to that moment in the kitchen when she had overheard something she wasn't supposed to hear. It had been a pivotal moment in her life, one that had forced her to confront her own biases and assumptions, and one that had ultimately led to the unexpected and beautiful ending of her story. Emily knew that she would never forget that moment, but she also knew that it was just one small part of a much larger story, one that was still unfolding, one that was full of hope and possibility, and one that she was grateful to be living.